So you heard that the TA-15 is getting banned on July 1st, and I'm sure you're curious, what's the best alternative for a power paddle in 2025? And not only that, but what is the best alternative that's not going to eventually get banned? What's a safe bet to place your money and your time with? So without further ado, let's dig straight into it. So we talked about this on my recent paddle meta-analysis episode, but yeah, the TA-15 and the Gearbox Pro Power Elongated 14mm versions are both being banned. So July 1st, we will not see these paddles any longer. So the first question that might come to mind for somebody that really enjoys a power paddle is, well, what's the next best option? So the first option that really comes to mind are the new Plus paddles from Honolulu. Specifically actually the Kevlar paddle, which I have a buddy of mine actually doing some break-in testing with to see the durability and the longevity of what that paddle is going to look like, because that was my favorite of the two Plus paddles. But so we have the J2 Ti Plus right here. I have the production models on the way as well as we speak, so we'll be able to talk about those very soon as well. There aren't going to be any differences between what I have now and those, so what I say now is relevant to those as well. But yeah, the Plus paddles definitely have more power, more pop than the original non-Plus models, but you know, no real lack anywhere else. I mean, you do get a little bit less control, of course, because you're getting more power, but the spin is still extremely top tier, and the sweet spot is also really, really big on these. So I really like the J2K Plus. I would say the J2K Plus is probably about 10 to 15% less power than the TA outside of break-in. So we're still working on break-in testing right now on those, but yeah, so I think these are really solid picks right now as far as alternatives go. And I will say, so Honolulu's discount code setup is a little wonky right now. So you can use code STS Pickleball to save $20 off any of their Kevlar paddles, and then you can use code STS10 to save 10% off any other paddle on their website outside of Kevlar paddles. So if you're looking for a discount and you want to use one of my codes, that's the best way to do it. The number one option I would say in the power category currently are going to be the power paddles from 11.624 that are coming out on February 7th. And these are they're just incredible. I think that they will potentially end up being paddle of the year for 2025. So EVA foam around the perimeter. And basically what that does is it gives it a little bit more power and a little bit more pop off the face, because that closed cell foam is denser. And it also should have really good durability because of that closed cell foam as well, kind of holding the integrity of the core a little bit more intact than the open cell does, as the open cell foam tends to kind of break down and kind of degrades a little bit quicker. So which releases some of the integrity in the core and allows for core crushing and things of that nature. That's what the owner was telling me. I've been ripping into this vapor on my Titan ball machine just for a while now, and I haven't really noticed too much break-in. Maybe loosens up a little bit, maybe, 5% more power. It's hard to quantify, but so I would say the J2K Plus and the 11.624 power paddles, specifically the Huarache X and the Vapor, are just top tier options as far as alternatives go for the TA-15 and the Gearbox Pro Power Elongated that are phasing out July 1st. And as always, you can use code STS Pickleball to save 10% if you decide to grab one. And next up, we have the Pulse paddles. I would actually probably recommend going with the X and not the V, which I have right here. I actually have a buddy of mine doing some break-in testing on the X right now. So But yeah, I think the X or even the hybrid version would be pretty good options as far as replacements for a TA-15. I think that they're probably the least powerful of the paddles that I'm going to talk about today, but I do think that they should still be noted in this list. So next up, we have some Paddletek paddles. So we have the ESQ-C 12.7 millimeter right here, and we have the TKO-CX 12.7 millimeter right here as well. Yeah, I think that these are great alternatives to the TA-15. Specifically, the TKO-CX 12.7 millimeter just has tons of power, really nice long grip for two-handed backhands. It does have that kind of plush, that kind of almost, it's not really a trampoline-like effect like the Gearbox has. I don't know, it has a certain feeling off the face that feels very powerful. Plush, but very powerful off the face, which is nice. And definitely the miles per hour, as I tracked that as well, certainly added up to being a very powerful paddle as well. So yeah, this is a super solid pick. I would actually recommend, if you're going to pick up a Paddletek, going over to Pickleball Central and snagging one there, because you can use code STS Pickleball and save 10% there. You can't really get any deals on Paddletek paddles on their actual website, so I'd go to Pickleball Central, and that way you have like, you know, easy return policy, all the ease of purchasing. You know, Pickleball Central is kind of like the Amazon of pickleball right now. So the ESQ-C is also a really solid option. Not quite as powerful as the TKO-CX, but you know, it does have the 5.5 inch handle, which is nice, and it is very hot off the face. So if you're looking for something in the more kind of standard shape realm, I would say that this is also a great pick for an alternative to the Mod TA-15. And lastly, we have the Gearbox Pro Ultimate paddles, but these are the 16 millimeter versions, whereas the new PB Core is going to be a 14 millimeter version. But yeah, I would honestly take these over the new PB Core 14 millimeter power paddle that they're releasing, just because I think that the sweet spot's better on these, much better on these, extremely better on the standard shape, definitely still better on the elongated version of the 16 millimeter that I have right here. But yeah, I think these are honestly the best two paddles that Gearbox has ever released. And I think that that's a very clear consensus among all the reviewers that is the case. You know, the new PB Core 14 millimeter version has a swing weight of around 128, which is extremely head heavy. So not super ideal if you're looking for something that, you know, that you can mod up, put some lead tape on, or just have any room to kind of do anything with. If you love a stock paddle that's extremely head heavy and you just love Gearbox, potentially I could see it, you know, that person purchasing that, but that seems like a pretty niche human. But yeah, I would say that these two Gearbox paddles are probably your best options as far as options from Gearbox to replace something like a Mod TA-15 or a Pro Power Elongated. I don't think that I would put this as the best alternative to the Mod TA-15, but I would say that this is the best alternative to the Pro Power Elongated. It just has a larger sweet spot. You know, you get a little bit less power off the face, but it's manageable. You get more control because of the bigger sweet spot. You get more spin because you're getting more dwell time because it's a thicker paddle overall. That's 2 extra millimeters of thickness do add, you know, quite a bit more dwell time. You can feel it on the face, and that also translates to quite a lot more spin, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, I think this is definitely the best alternative to the Pro Power Elongated. So what I've done thus far is I've given you a lot of just general options for replacements for a Mod TA-15 or a Pro Power Elongated. If I was going to just give you my absolute top picks, just real quick, I would say the TKO-CX is going to be the most relative as far as power and pop goes, just generally speaking. I would say the new J2K Plus, not the TI Plus, which I'm holding here, but the J2K Plus is a great option for something more powerful, and especially if you want to, you know, check out and see what the J2K has to offer, and you're looking for a replacement for a Mod TA-15 or a Pro Power Elongated, I think the J2K Plus is a top pick. And then you really can't go wrong with either of these. The Vapor and the Hirachi X and the new Power Series from 11624. I think you would just be extremely happy with any of those paddles. So again, TKO-CX, J2K Plus, and the Vapor and the Hirachi X from 11624's new Power Series would be my absolute top picks for paddles that are most relative to the feel off the face of a Mod TA-15 or a Pro Power Elongated. Threw a few of the other paddles in there just so you have a few more options. Maybe you're looking for something that, you know, just has a little bit of a larger sweet spot, or something that it has a little bit more control to it and doesn't have quite as much power or pop. You know, some of these other options could be good for that. But as far as the most direct feeling off the face, and as far as being, you know, very power oriented, I think that these options right here are the best for somebody that's, you know, going to have to switch from the Mod TA-15 to, you know, something different. I think that if you were to purchase any of these paddles, you know, you'd be in good hands knowing that you're not going to run into another issue, you know, 2 or 3 months down the line, and you're going to have to find another new paddle and get used to that. So, yeah, I think if I was going to pick one of these paddles and I had been using a Mod TA-15 for that long, it would be super hard to choose between the J2K Plus and the new vapor paddle from the Power Series on 11624. It's so tough. It's so tough. I'm gonna have to test them more to figure out which one really takes the cake. So click here if you want to see the ball machine that's been leveling up my game like crazy this year. Subscribe for more videos just like this one. Have a freaking wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.